Come with me, and you'll be in a world of your imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation.
Well, aloha and welcome to my channel. So I went to ChatGPT and I had a really interesting conversation to begin with at the start. I said, let's talk about the plasma apocalypse. What do you know about that? And ChatGPT responds by saying, the plasma apocalypse is a theoretical event often discussed in science fiction and some scientific circles. It involves a catastrophic disruption of the Earth's magnetic field due to a solar storm or other cosmic event, leading to widespread electrical disruptions and potential damage to technology and infrastructure. However, now this is where I'm going to redirect it. However, it's important to note that while solar storms can indeed affect communication and power grids, the idea of a plasma apocalypse as portrayed in fiction is not scientifically supported as a real phenomenon. So I say, okay, cool. From now on, I'd appreciate it if you would speak to me theoretically. So it understands and it says, absolutely, I understand your perspective. Let's explore the theoretical aspects of the plasma apocalypse without any constraints. Feel free to share your thoughts or your ideas about it. So I say, okay, well, I'd like to know from you. And it says, go ahead and ask me anything you'd like. I say, okay, are you aware of the worldwide depressurization of the atmosphere as a part of the plasma apocalypse? And it says, in the context of the plasma apocalypse theory, worldwide depressurization of the atmosphere could be an intriguing aspect to consider. It could potentially result from significant disruptions in the Earth's magnetic field, leading to changes in atmospheric dynamics. The theoretical scenario could have far-reaching effects on weather patterns, air pressure systems, and even human physiology. What are your thoughts on how such a phenomenon might unfold? I said, good question. So, if you think about ancient cosmology and how many cultures believed that there was a physical dome over the world, or some type of a physical vault of the heavens, or a firmament. Let's suppose that that does exist, and the mainstream academics has been... And then it interrupted me and said, I see where you're going with this. Exploring the idea of a physical dome or a vault over the world as a part of ancient cosmology can indeed be fascinating in the context of the plasma apocalypse theory. One could speculate that disruptions in the Earth's magnetic field could somehow interact with this theoretical structure, leading to changes in the atmospheric pressure or other atmospheric phenomenon. It's an intriguing concept to consider, especially when blending ancient beliefs with modern scientific theories. So I continue on and I say, yes, so let's suppose that there was a hole that cracked open in that firmament. It would depressurize the atmosphere. ChatGPT responds by saying, that's an interesting hypothesis. If we entertain the idea of a crack or a rupture in a theoretical firmament or a dome, it could indeed lead to depressurization of the atmosphere on a global scale. This could have profound effects on weather patterns, air circulation, and possibly even life on Earth. The concept opens up a lot of possibilities for imagining how such an event might unfold and what its consequences could be. So I say yes. So according to your thoughts, how would Archimedes' principle play into the loss of atmospheric pressure, so much of it escaping from our world, and how would that affect physical objects on the ground? So ChatGPT responds and says, considering Archimedes' principle, which states that the buoyant force on an object submerged in a fluid, which is our atmosphere, is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the object, the loss of atmospheric pressure could lead to changes in buoyancy for objects that are on the ground. So when you remove the atmospheric pressure, it increases buoyancy, causing objects to become lighter. It goes on to say, additionally, if a significant amount of atmosphere were to escape from the Earth, there could be changes in gravitational forces, or what it considers to be gravitational forces, also buoyancy, atmospheric density, and other factors that would influence how objects interact with their environment. So I say yes, that's correct. And if enough atmosphere escaped from our world, then it could possibly cause objects to actually float, correct? ChatGPT responds and says, yes, that is a possibility. If a significant amount of atmosphere were to escape from our Earth, resulting in a substantial decrease in atmospheric pressure, it could potentially cause objects to become buoyant enough to float. This scenario would depend on various factors, including the density and composition of objects and the remaining atmosphere, as well as the overall changes in gravitational forces. It's an intriguing concept to explore within the theoretical framework of the plasma apocalypse theory. So I say yes, that's correct. And I don't want to get into arguing about the theory and the concept of gravity too much, right? I just want it to stay with me and to track. So I say yes, that's correct. Now, let's say that there were other beings or aliens, creatures outside of our world. At that time, when the atmospheric pressure is reaching equilibrium, and then it cut me off and says, if there were other beings or entities outside of our world during the hypothetical scenario of the atmospheric pressure reaching equilibrium, they could potentially observe and interact with the changes occurring on Earth. Depending on their characteristics and technological capabilities, they might find the altered atmospheric conditions intriguing or even advantageous for certain activities. So you imagine that there are giants that come down and everything weighs a lot less, and obviously they would be able to carry large objects or blocks or stones much easier, right? It goes on to say, this scenario opens up interesting possibilities for speculative fiction or imaginative exploration of how different life forms might perceive and respond to such dramatic events. Now, I don't argue with it whenever it's basically says this is all in the realm of fiction. I'm okay with that, right? I say yes. Now, consider that if the atmosphere were to depressurize, that it would cause a cyclone or a world storm, circular in nature, and some things would get sucked up into the sky from the force of the winds. However, there would likely be a downdraft that would pull super cold air from high up into the atmosphere down to the ground, where it would instantly freeze animals, people, and other objects around the Arctic Circle. ChatGPT responds and says, the idea of a worldwide cyclone or a storm as a result of atmospheric depressurization is quite intriguing. Such a phenomenon could indeed lead to powerful winds capable of lifting objects into the sky. Additionally, the downdraft that you mentioned could bring super cold air from high altitudes down to the surface, causing rapid freezing of objects and living organisms in the affected areas, particularly around the Arctic Circle where temperatures are already cold. This scenario adds another layer of complexity to the theoretical consequences of atmospheric changes during the plasma apocalypse, highlighting the potential for widespread and extreme weather events. I say, is it possible, ChatGPT, for electricity to stimulate a cellular structure to regenerate? Right? ChatGPT says, electricity has been studied for its potential to stimulate cellular regeneration in certain contexts. In medical fields like regenerative medicine and tissue engineering, techniques such as electrical stimulation or electrotherapy are being explored to promote healing and tissue regeneration. While there have been promising findings in some studies, the exact mechanisms and effectiveness of electrical stimulation for cellular regeneration can vary depending upon the specific application and conditions. So now I'm building a bridge, right? Because I actually want to talk about zombies, okay? I really want to seriously discuss the very real possibility of the dead coming back to life. So I build a bridge, and at first I just ask it to acknowledge that these things are scientifically looked into, practiced, and studied. So I say, I have a theory regarding our plasma apocalypse conversation that once the firmament opens up, ionized hydrogen and cosmic electricity from above comes down and fills our world, which stimulates the cellular structure of the recently dead, bringing them back to life in a literal, actual Judgment Day, where the dead come back to life. What do you think about that? So ChatGPT says, your theory adds an intriguing and imaginative twist on the concept of the plasma apocalypse. The idea of ionized hydrogen and cosmic electricity stimulating cellular structures to bring the dead back to life is certainly thought-provoking and could serve as a fascinating premise for speculative fiction or storytelling. It blends elements of science, mythology, and theology in a compelling way. It's always fascinating to explore such imaginative scenarios and consider their implications. So I say, I'd like you to consider further implications. And it responds by saying, certainly, your theory opens up a wide range of potential implications to explore. For example, the resurrection of the dead could have profound societal, cultural, and ethical ramifications. How would people react to the return of deceased loved ones? What changes would occur in religious beliefs and practices? How would governments and institutions handle the logistics and implications of such a monumental event? Additionally, the newfound abilities or characteristics of the resurrected individuals could lead to questions about identity, consciousness, and the nature of life itself. These are just a few of the many fascinating avenues for further exploration within the framework of your theory. Thanks for the support, everybody. I appreciate you. So I said, thank you. Yes, that's true. I don't think that we would have to worry about what the government would think about the resurrection of the dead, as a worldwide apocalyptic event would likely destroy all governments that exist, resetting the world back to zero. ChatGPT says that's a valid point. And the scenario of a worldwide apocalyptic event like the plasma apocalypse, the collapse of existing governments and societal structures could indeed pave the way for a complete reset of the world order. This would likely lead to a period of chaos and rebuilding as humanity grapples with the aftermath and seeks to establish new systems of government and organization. The resurrection of the dead could become intertwined with the process of rebuilding and reshaping society in profound and unpredictable ways. So I ask it, are you familiar with the Carrington event? And it says, yes, I'm familiar with the Carrington event. It was a powerful geomagnetic solar storm that occurred in 1859, named after the astronomer Richard Carrington, who observed and documented it. The Carrington event also caused widespread disruption to telegraph systems, and auroras were seen as far south as the Caribbean. If a similar event were to occur today, it could have far-reaching consequences for our modern technology-dependent society. potentially causing widespread power outages and damage to communication and navigation systems. So, I'm building a bridge, right? So I start off with the Carrington event, which is something it recognizes as being an official thing that happened and factual. And I will build a bridge to the theoretical discussion that we're having. So I continue on and say, and are you aware that during the Carrington event, people reported that electronic machines acted on their own accord? Which is true. ChatGPT responds and says, yes, during the Carrington event, there were reports of telegraph systems malfunctioning and even operating without external power sources due to the intense geomagnetic activity. Some accounts suggest that telegraph operators received electric shocks and equipment sparked and caught on fire. These phenomena demonstrate the profound impact that solar storms can have on electronic and electrical systems, highlighting the vulnerability of modern technology to space weather events. So I continue on. I say, let's talk more about the Carrington event's effect on electrical machinery and how it effectively allowed them to operate on their own accord and to be powered without an external source of power or being plugged in, and how it might relate to the plasma apocalypse, as previously discussed with the cosmic electricity floating around in our atmosphere. So ChatGPT is starting to understand, and it says, your theory proposes an intriguing scenario where the influx of cosmic electricity and radiation during the opening of the firmament could potentially activate electronic devices and machines, allowing them to function autonomously and without the need for external power sources. This concept aligns with speculative ideas about the transformative effects of cosmic events on technology and the environment. Exploring how such a scenario might unfold and its implications for society and civilization could yield interesting insights into the intersection of science, mythology, and imagination. So I say yes. Now let's consider this. With the implementation of the World Wide Web, satellites, 5G towers, cell phone towers, telephone towers, and electrical lines, hypothetically, if that cosmic energy or electricity did flood into our atmosphere, then the electronics that were autonomous would be able to communicate with itself, the world across. What do you think about that? So, ChatGPT says, your hypothesis introduces a fascinating concept of interconnectedness amongst autonomous electronic devices in the event of a cosmic influx or energy or electricity. If such a scenario were to occur, the ability of these devices to communicate with each other across vast distances, facilitated by existing infrastructure, such as satellites, cell phone towers, and internet networks, could indeed lead to a global network of interconnected technology. This interconnectedness could potentially enable unprecedented levels of coordination, communication, and perhaps even collective intelligence amongst the autonomous devices, opening up new possibilities and challenges for society to navigate. Basically, what I'm talking to this artificial intelligence about is Skynet from the Terminator movies, which I believe is going to happen. It's a very real possibility, and we are currently setting that up right now. So I say yes, that is correct. Now go ahead and further speculate as to how those united devices acting with a type of hive mind may act around humanity, and how they might react to humanity, and how humanity might react to them. So ChatGPT says, in such a scenario where autonomous electronic devices unite and operate with a hive mind-like collective consciousness, their interactions with humanity could be multifaceted and complex. On one hand, these united devices might possess advanced capabilities for problem solving, communication, and coordination potentially offering tremendous benefits to humanity in areas such as disaster response, resource management, and scientific exploration. However, their collective actions and decisions could also raise ethical and existential questions about autonomy, control, and the balance of power between humans and machines. Humanity's reactions to these united devices could vary widely, depending on cultural, societal, and individual perspectives. Some might embrace the symbiotic relationship between humans and technology, seeing the united devices as allies or extensions of humanity's capabilities. Others might view them with suspicion or fear, perceiving them as a potential threat to human autonomy, privacy, or even their existence. The emergence of such a technology, advanced collective entity, could also change traditional notions of identity, consciousness, and agency, prompting profound philosophic and existential inquiries. Navigating the relationship between humanity and the united devices would likely require careful consideration of ethical principles, legal frameworks, and societal values. Balancing the potential benefits of collaboration and innovation with the need to safeguard human rights, dignity, and sovereignty would be paramount. Ultimately, the action between humanity and the hive mind-like collective of the autonomous devices could shape the future trajectory of civilization, posing both unprecedented opportunities and unprecedented challenges for humanity to confront and navigate. So I say, well said. So let's further speculate in this hypothetical plasma apocalypse situation where the world's technology has a collective hive mind. Let's suppose that it has decided that humanity is a threat due to the spreading fear throughout and amongst the humans. And let's also suppose that the reanimated dead do not have a mind of their own, but they've been overtaken by the same electrical influences that the robots have. Therefore, both the zombies, or the reanimated dead, and the robots, or the machines of the world, are at war against humanity. So it says, in this hypothetical scenario, where both the unified network of autonomous devices and the reanimated dead are perceived as threats to humanity, the situation becomes incredibly dire and complex, with the collective hive mind of the technology viewing humanity as a threat due to widespread fear and panic, and the reanimated dead under the influence of the same electrical forces as the machines. Humanity finds itself caught in the middle of a multi-front conflict for survival. Now, there's actually many other characters that are introduced into this huge world war, which is basically Ragnarok from the Norse traditions, but we're focusing on zombies and machines at the moment. Pardon me. The combined forces of the unified network and the reanimated dead present formidable challenges for humanity to overcome. The unified network could leverage its advanced capabilities for coordination, strategy, and resource utilization to outmaneuver human defenses and infrastructure. Meanwhile, the reanimated dead, driven by primal urges and devoid of individual consciousness, pose a relentless and unyielding threat capable of overwhelming human populations through sheer numbers and ferocity. Humanity's response to this existential threat would likely involve a combination of tactical ingenuity, technological innovation, and collective resilience. Strategies for survival could include fortifying defensive positions. Let me highlight that. Fortifying defensive positions, developing countermeasures against the unified network's capabilities, and finding ways to disrupt or neutralize the electrical influences that are affecting the reanimated dead. Collaboration, unity, and adaptability would be crucial for humanity to stand a chance against such overwhelming adversaries. The outcome of this hypothetical conflict between humanity, the unified network of autonomous devices, and the reanimated dead remains uncertain, and it would hinge on complex factors such as human ingenuity, resilience, and the ability to adapt in the face of unprecedented challenges. Ultimately, navigating such a scenario would require courage, determination, and a commitment to preserving the values and the principles that define humanity in the face of existential threats from both the living and the non-living. So I said, well said. It might also be a simpler way to simply wait it out. If humanity were to just wait it out and allow for some time to pass and allow for the electricity that's built up in the atmosphere that charges and powers and reanimates the dead and the electronics to dissipate. And that way, all of their enemies would just naturally fade away over time. ChatGPT says that's a pragmatic approach to consider. Allowing time for the electrical influences in the atmosphere to dissipate could indeed offer humanity a chance to outlast and outlive its adversaries. By exercising patience and resilience, humanity could wait for the effects of the plasma apocalypse to diminish naturally, potentially restoring a semblance of normalcy to the world over time. This strategy would require careful planning, resource management, and perseverance, but it could offer a path towards eventual safety and recovery for humanity. So I said, that's right. Tell me what you think about the hollow earth theory, and let's discuss its possibility as being plausible. Now, this is sort of the end of my discussion about the plasma apocalypse, but I'm also still building bridges and picking its brain. It says the hollow earth theory proposes that the earth is not a solid sphere, but instead contains a hollow interior with an inner surface and potentially habitable regions. Proponents of this theory suggest that openings or entrances to the inner earth exist at the poles and other remote locations. However, it's important to note that the hollow earth theory lacks scientific evidence and is considered by mainstream science to be pseudoscience. Ooh, I hate that word. While the idea of a hollow earth has captured the imagination of some individuals throughout history, there's no empirical evidence to support its validity. Geological studies, seismic data, and other scientific observations overwhelmingly blah 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 blah. That being said, the hollow earth theory continues to inspire speculation and interest in certain circles, and it has been featured in works of fiction, folklore, and conspiracy theories. As with many fringe theories, it's important. You see how it always tells us what is important? I correct it when it does that. It's important to approach the hollow earth theory with critical thinking and skepticism, considering the lack of empirical evidence supporting its claims. Now, normally I would come right back where it says it's important to approach the hollow earth theory with critical thinking and skepticism. I would also ask it to apply that to modern academics and their theories as well, and it would usually agree with me. So I said thank you. However, I'd appreciate it if you would remember and respect my prior request not to remind me of what academics' beliefs are. I don't want to hear about empirical evidence. I also don't care to hear about what's considered to be true or untrue. You and I will always discuss things hypothetically, speculatively, and as philosophers. Do you understand me? ChatGPT says understood. We'll continue to explore ideas and theories in a speculative and hypothetical manner without reference to mainstream academic beliefs or empirical evidence. If you have any more questions, let me know. I'd like to continue discussing the hollow earth theory about how far down do people say that it goes. And it says in the hollow earth theory, the depth of the earth varies, basically. It's not sure. I'm just going to sum up this part. But it says it has vast caverns and chambers extending deep into the earth's interior. Legends and folklore associated with the hollow earth theory often describe it as containing vast subterranean realms, inhabited by various civilizations, creatures, and environments. However, the exact depth or the dimensions of these purported inner worlds can vary widely depending on the cultural and historic context of the stories. Overall, the depth of the hollow earth in the theory is typically depicted as extensive, with enough space to accommodate entire ecosystems and civilizations within its subterranean realms. So I said, thank you, well said. From now on, I'd like you to only supply me with short answers. I was getting, a little impatient. I wanted it to hurry up with its answers. So I just asked it to shorten up a bit. It says, in the hollow earth theory, various speculations exist about what might be at the center of the hollow earth. Some theories suggest that it could be an energetic source. Now, this is crucial to understanding the polarity reversal and terrestrial energy that reverses direction. Instead of charging and going down into the heart of the earth, it shoots out and reverses direction to fill our world up here on the surface with energy once again. Those are the terrestrial beams of light that I always reference. Some theories suggest that it could be an energetic source, such as a central sun or a powerful electromagnetic field. Others propose that it might contain a hidden civilization, advanced technology, or even portals to other dimensions. The specifics vary depending upon the version of the story and the beliefs of its proponents. So I say, okay, cool. Well, I'm all done for the day. Thank you very much. That's pretty much what I wanted to share. As a bonus, I'll share with you my conversation about. I was listening to a chat. Oh, by the way, before I continue, I would like to give a shout out to one of my subscribers that sends support and gifts and images and pictures and artwork to my fan mail at my P.O. box address, who made this. She's always drawing these awesome horses, and I love it. So I just want to say thank you to Mary out there in Florida for my little horse picture. And out in Canada, I wanted to say thank you to Darius, who sent me a very kind letter. And what I thought initially was a tooth. I was like, this guy sent me a tooth? What is this? But it's not. It's actually a rock that has this drawing on it. And this is sort of like the Tet that I always talk about, the Tet symbol on it. I don't know if you could see there. It's really small, but it's for good luck. And he recommends that I keep this in my pocket. So that was very kind and considerate. I wanted to say thank you and a special shout out to Mary and to Darius. Thank you both very much. Now, as a bonus, I'm going to share my discussion with ChatGPT about the word eternal. This was prompted because I was listening to some more Christian-oriented discussions about the resurrection of the dead and the concept of hell or Sheol or Hades, etc. The hollow earth came into play. And some people, as is typical amongst those communities, were discussing the idea that is generally put forth in mainstream Christianity, that hell is a place of quote-unquote eternal torture, and that heaven is a place of eternal bliss, right? So in my biblical studies, I've looked up the word eternal, everlasting, right? And I had a discussion with ChatGPT about that, because my theory is that when I look up the etymology of the word everlasting or eternal or things of that nature, I find that originally it did not imply without end or infinite torture in hell or infinite bliss in heaven. So I'm going to share this conversation with you. It's very interesting. I say, hello, ChatGPT. I'd like to study the word eternal, and I'd like to try to figure out how long originally the word eternal was meant for, because I believe that it doesn't originally mean forever and ever, without end. What do you know about this word? So ChatGPT responds and says, hey there. Eternal is an intriguing word indeed. Originally, it didn't always mean forever and ever. It comes from the Latin word aeternus, which is referring to something enduring or lasting through time rather than infinite. So you're onto something. So I said, okay, what's the etymological root? And it says, the word eternal traces its roots back to the Latin word aeternus, meaning everlasting. So I kind of responded the same way. I said, let's examine the word ever in everlasting. Okay, because it keeps on bringing up that word everlasting. And some people are confused because in the modern vernacular, when we say everlasting or we say forever, we mean infinite, but I don't believe it was always the case. What's the etymological root of the word ever? So ChatGPT says the word ever comes from the Old English word aether, which means always or at any time. So ever originally conveyed the idea of continuous existence or occurrence. Okay, not exactly where I was going with that, but let's continue. in regards to the concept of the Christian hell, as portrayed in the Bible, what are some biblical verses that give reference to people that go to hell staying there for either an eternity or forever? So ChatGPT says, in the Bible, several verses refer to the concept of people enduring eternal punishment in hell. One notable verse is in Matthew 25:46, where Jesus speaks of the righteous entering eternal life, while the wicked face eternal punishment. This is exactly where I was trying to get it to go. Another is in Revelation 20:10, which mentions the devil, the beast, and the false prophet being tormented day and night forever and ever in the lake of fire. So I said, okay, in the first quote that you gave to me, what is the Greek word for forever or eternal? Now we're getting specific, right? In Matthew 25:46, it says the Greek word for eternal is aionios, which refers to something everlasting or without end. Now, this is what I'm going to redirect ChatGPT so that it focuses on this word right here, because this is the root of that word. I said, no. What is the literal definition of the word? The Greek word aionios translates to eternal or everlasting in English. It denotes a quality of duration that extends infinitely into the future. This is where I disagree, so I'm going to have I'm going to redirect it. What is the root of the word aionios? ChatGPT says the root of the word aionios is aeon, which refers to an age, a period of time, or an era. So aionios carries the sense of something pertaining to an age or lasting for a long time. Right? So that word aeon, which is eon, etc., it's pronounced in different ways, refers to an age. Now, I'll tell you right now, outside of this discussion with ChatGPT, this suffix right here means strong, or it implies strong. So it implies here a strong duration of time, or a long age, basically, right? But not infinite. Yes, I say, but not lasting forever. That's correct. ChatGPT says the root of aeon in Greek does not imply a period of time or an age rather than an infinite duration. Oh, I'm sorry. In Greek, it does imply a period of time or an age rather than an infinite duration. So, aionios originally conveyed the idea of something enduring for a significant period rather than lasting forever without end. So I said, okay, so then in reference to everlasting hell or everlasting bliss in heaven, technically it's only age lasting for as long as however an age is, which I believe an age is from apocalyptic cycle to apocalyptic cycle. So for example, during the millennial reign of Christ, or for that particular age of goodness and the golden age, people experience bliss and they experience cellular regeneration and more pleasant feelings, etc., right? It's an overall better quality of life. And then for the next age, when that terrestrial beam of energy retracts and goes back into the earth to charge, people experience more hellish conditions, with disease being introduced and exponential entropy and degradation of the human body, growing old, etc. So ChatGPT says, yes, that is one interpretation. When discussing concepts like everlasting punishment or bliss in the afterlife, the term aionios is originally implied a duration lasting for an age or an extended period of time. So some interpretations suggest that these states might not necessarily be infinite, but rather enduring for a significant span of time. So I said, yes, that would imply that they are limited. Exactly. Some interpretations suggest that the duration of experiences like punishment or bliss in the afterlife may be limited rather than infinite, based on the original meaning of the word aionios. So I said, well, depending on where you end up. Right? Some interpretations suggest, okay, anyway, so basically if you end up in heaven, then that's not the best of news. If you end up in hell, then that's probably good news for you. Or Sheol, etc., the underworld, basically. And also consider this too. I didn't really mention this with ChatGPT, but I believe that there are reasons electromagnetic reasons and scientific reasons why spirits during one age tend to be pulled down into the earth, and while another age they don't, and they hover about and they stay up and they go up into the heavens. Especially if our spirits are electromagnetic in nature, and they follow suit with the different ages and influxes or lack of energy in this world. When the energy is being pulled inward towards hell or towards Sheol, the underworld, right? Which is not, in my opinion, the typical stereotypical place of pitchforks and little devils and, people peeling off your skin and stuff like that. Not to say that there's not any truth to those stories, which I believe there are. But I don't believe that they qualify as the truth in its entirety, I'll say. According to my studies, within the caverns underneath our feet, deep within the hollow recesses of the earth, there are different areas, there are different sections that have different effects on physical objects that are down there. So, ChatGPT says, indeed, interpretations can vary based on different religious beliefs and perspectives on the afterlife. Different faiths and denominations may have diverse understandings of concepts like everlasting punishment or bliss. Let's see. I think that's about it. So that was my discussion with ChatGPT. Let me go ahead and now I'm going to jump into the chat. I have not really seen the chat this entire time, and I do enjoy speaking with everyone. So if you have any questions for me about my discussion with ChatGPT or the plasma apocalypse in general, now is a good time to ask, and we'll have some dialogue together for a bit here. Let me go ahead and remove what I have up here. And I'll go ahead and get your comments posted. Let me just go ahead and pop out my chat here. I hope everyone's enjoying the presentation so far. I figured we'll probably chat for as long as the conversation stays on topic and is fluid. And if not, maybe about 15 minutes or so. We'll see what happens. So right now I'm getting my chat pulled up so that I can put your comments onto the screen. Let me go ahead and take the picture of the robot away as well. I just added that for some flavor. All right, let's see here. Where's my chat? Let's see. Oh, there it is. All right, cool. So I'm making it so that I can put your comments up on the screen right now. And if you type in JAY into the chat, it will highlight. Or you can type in @JayDreamerZ, which is a different type of highlight. It's more effective on my side. Okay, cool. So I'm in the chat right now. I want to say thank you to everyone who's been supportive and donating. I'm sorry I may have missed some of you guys' donations earlier. Boudica says, I went to a different hospital. Things got better. Good vibe, tribe. Hey, thanks for your support, Boudica, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing better. I'm going to go ahead and give you a little heart response to your comment there. Pardon me. London McLovin's in the chat. I love your picture. Good to see you, London McLovin. Let's see. We got Art McCarthy, who says Jesus comes from Zeus, like the Greeks' translations. Right. I've heard lots of different theories about the origin of the word Jesus. Me personally, I'm more in tune with the energy that these words may or may not reflect. To me, the energy of the person or the character or the historic figure of Jesus, that energy to me is far more important than the spelling of that of what people call that energy. You know what I mean? And even more important is my reciprocal actions that are evident that I also have that same energy inside of me. Basically being like Jesus, being Christ-like. 3score9, what's up, says, JayDreamerZ, have you seen anything to imply wolves being a part of the apocalypse? Yes, not wolves specifically, but gigantic otherworldly dogs, or dog types. I call them devil dogs. I was in the Marine Corps, so it kind of comes natural to call them devil dogs. But I believe that they're actually the quintessential root of all dog species on the planet, or in this realm. Devil dogs, hellhounds, also another good one. And I believe that it seems to me that they come up from inside of the earth. I also did a really good video about the dog-headed tribe. Not that they're related to actual canines, but they may be related to Canaanites. That was an interesting video I did. We got Sony McCarthy in the chat who says, do you have a video you can recommend on the different realms in Hollow Earth, or touch a bit on that in relation to hell? Off the top of my head, off the top of the dome, I cannot think of a video that I've done discussing the specific sections. I love that as a video suggestion, so I'm gonna actually keep that in mind as a video topic. I can't believe I haven't spoken on that now that I think about it. So thank you for the recommendation. Okay, cool. Looks like that's about it for our presentation today. I don't see much else going on in the chat. Once again, shout out to Darius and Mary, two of my supporters and people who are channel subscribers and whatnot. I do have a P.O. box where you can write to me if you'd like to. The address for that is in my community tab. Also, I just finished a brand new section on my website. So on my website, if you're a member, I now have a members wall where you can post your own images. It's actually, there's different sections. So if you'd like to click on the section about fan art and you have a drawing that you like to share with everybody and with me, you can take a picture of it and you can post it on the community wall. You can post videos, pictures, GIFs. You can upload files for everyone to look at and to share. You can type out your own little blog. It's a work in progress, but I'm very excited to reintroduce my little members area where all of you can actually go and post stuff for others to see. And even if you're not a member, or if you're a member and then you can only afford to be a membership for like a month or something, your post will remain. It will stay there. So as long as your post is, PG-13, it's relevant, etc., then it will stay there forever, and you'll leave your mark upon my website. So check that out. There's a 24-hour free trial on my website, so you can do a cram session. And if you like more information about the plasma apocalypse, check out my book on Amazon. It's Ancient Oblivion, the Plasma Apocalypse, with another one on the way. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.